Let's just make a bunch of racket. Rip it open. Oh, oh, oh. It's nice and full. Okay, this is my confectionery cowl. Yes! I hope it comes out. Merry Christmas to us all! I've been procrastinating, but I finally got started already, and let me show you what I got. So I decided on a funky cast on. I don't know if this is how it's gonna stay. This is where we're starting though. This is where we're starting. This is where we're going. Excuse me. We got a new RV and we're at Texas Motor Speedway racetrack. So, I mean, what better time to start a new project, I guess. And I also got a brand new stitch marker from Gabriella Makes. Tell me that isn't cute. Okay, I'm gonna get started. This is going to be hopefully like a super easy project. I'm hoping to be able to, like, it's gonna be kitted. Now I'm thinking in my head as like a his and hers. I might be able to convince Jeff to take a picture with me. How cool will that be? So I'll make like opposite versions. So the next version will be like, this will be like a gray part. This colorway is Katmai. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce that. And this is redwood. So it will basically be complete opposites. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see. That's in my mind what I'm thinking. Who knows what will actually happen. Hello. I feel like I've made lots of progress on here, even though this is pretty basic. I did try it on. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this one-handed so I can show you. I was gonna try and go to, please don't drop any stitches. Please don't drop any stitches. I was gonna try to go to 13 inches, but this is 11 and I kind of dig it. Yeah. When it gets off the cord, it'll be much easier to see where we're gonna do the cable parts. But I love this length slash height, whatever you want to call it. So I'm thinking I'm gonna do a tubular bind off here so I can get like more of a rolled effect. I'm trying to decide. I haven't yet on what I want to do. I think I'm just gonna leave this part here, and then whenever I get the faux cables in here, that can bring it all in. But I don't think I want it at the top here, like not close to the face. I kind of like, I don't know. I think I just like that detail on the bottom. These things remind me of like little berries. If you've never knit before, I feel like this has some extra techniques, but you know, I will have video links, so you'll be fine. And there isn't like any increase. Well, there's a little bit of like yarn over stuff for the cast on, but like I said, you'll have video support. And other than that, it shouldn't be like, that's a little bit extra than beginner, but an adventurous beginner should be able to do this. And it's a nice like thing to hop into the knitting because you don't have to worry about a garment fit. It's a cowl. Can't go wrong. Okay, so I have decided to go ahead and steam this before doing my cable action. Like, I already did a little bit of it, so I have kind of stretched a little bit, but when I was done, it's like you couldn't see these like pearl bumps in between, and it was like keeping them all together. But you could tell I've been steaming it and stretching it, so I'm going to continue to do that till it's a little bit more even. and then I will start deciding how, like, where I'm going to place all these cables. And I did end up doing like a little bit of a ribbing on top here, like one round of it, but then I did a tubular bind off. Isn't the inside so beautiful too? I almost feel like this could be reversible, but I don't know how the cables are going to look from the other side. But yeah, okay, let me get to the steaming. Hey friends, hey! Let me introduce you to the confectionery cowl. I will be showing you how to make this beauty today. We have a nice bumpy cast on. We have nice kind of like a ribbing body. We have faux cabling to give us some candy cane illusions, and then we have a nice top edging here with tubular bind off ribbing, legit ribbing up here. Anyway, it uses Lion Brand Heartland Thick and Quick. This one I did is in redwood and katmai. Don't ask me how to pronounce things, but yeah, that's what it is. So, Heartland Thick and Quick. I do love the regular Heartland, so this is even nicer because you get the thickness and it's quick. So, it's a super bulky level 6, has 125 yards in each skein, and it's 100% acrylic. So, you will use one and some of a skein and a contrast color. I used about 175 yards of my main color, and then I used about 35 yards of the contrast color. So it's not very much. You could totally stash bus for a contrast if you'd like. With the kits, you actually can choose your colors that you want that are available. So besides the yarn, what you will need is obviously the needles. I used size US 10 6mm 30-inch long cord. It's actually a 22-inch long cord, and I have 4-inch needles. So it's 22-inch long plus 4 plus 4. If you have interchangeables, it's like the best way to go. I use ChowGoo. I'm not sponsored or anything, but you know, I just don't want anything else, really. I'm so into these. But you will need any needles that you can get gauge with. And then tape measure or ruler or whatever way that you want to measure your gauge swatch, and tapestry needle to sew in your ends, because there are a few. Stitch marker. This one is by Gabriella Makes. And scissors. And then you're all set. So let's get started. Okay, so the cast on I traditionally use is the long tail cast on. And to get myself a little bit more play in my cast ons, I like to use like my needles double like this. So for this pattern, I casted it on 88 stitches. To figure that out, I usually take my yarn and I'll wrap like 8 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that to me will count as 10 stitches. So I've got this stretch of yarn, and since I need 88 stitches, I usually round like to the closest 10. So I got 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 8. And then I will make a slip stitch and stick my needles in there. Oh, and also when I make this, actually let me flip it around, because I like, well, there's no like, this is the way long tail cast on is supposed to be. To have the tail in the front. Okay, so now we're set up here. We have our slip stitch on here, which counts as 1 stitch, and then we have the yarn from the yarn ball, and we have the tail up front. Okay, so now we place our fingers, getting ready for long tail cast on, and carry away till we get to 88 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It can be kind of fiddly messing with the 2 needles, but it really gives you more of a stretchy edge that you don't have to like struggle to get your needle into. So as I'm going to, I'll be able to push these down in the cord, but make sure you don't push them all the way off of your double cord here. So once I get to the 88 stitches, I'll come right back. Okay, so this is what you will look like after your 88 stitches. They're a little bunched up here, but they're all on there safely. And I have this much yarn left for my tail, which to me is perfect because it's not gonna fall out, but it's enough to weave in later and whatever if I need it. Okay, so what I do is I just hold one needle here, and then I take the other side and I pull it through all these stitches. And you might have to come back through here and like hold it a little bit, like hold these stitches back, and it pulls out easily. So now all of it is on the cord and the needles like normal, but they move very easily. Okay, so now you will join to go to work in the round. So the way that I join, I know that there are many versions of it, but the way that I find works for me without any gaps is I'll slip this last stitch that I made off, pick up the first stitch that I made, and switch them. So that's it. And then I take my stitch marker and I'll place it for my beginning of row. Okay, and now we start in pattern, at least for the bottom edging part, to get this little bumpy feature here. So we will first knit the first stitch, and then we will swing your right working like needle from the bottom to the back, and then pick up and bring it up to the front. And then you'll knit through the back loop on the next stitch. And you will do that same thing all the way around. Swing down, pick up, and then knit through the back stitch. Swing down, pick up, knit through the back loop of the stitch. Maybe my terms aren't that great, but maybe you can follow along on what I'm actually doing. Because I'm not a professional like tutorial person, but I figure having this video supplement will help you. Wow, you guys, don't be like me and use the tail. Use the proper working yarn. Let me go back. Do you guys know how to also tink back? So this is tinking back. Look, the stitch is twisted. Okay, so let me drop the little yarn overs, and then you could pick up, but I keep twisting the stitch because it's knit through the back loop. I'm glad that tail was so short. Here you go. This is like prime example of I'm not a tutorial person. Thank you for being here and on this journey with me. Okay, let me fix this and come back, okay? Okay, I'm back. I'm gonna leave that boo-boo in there just so that you guys can know, like, this is how real life goes, and it's possible to be able to fix your mistakes, so don't be afraid. If you do make a mistake, you can always repair that, okay? So I went back through and made sure that I still had my 88 stitches on here. I made sure that I was crisscrossed here great, and now I'm making sure my tail is up front and I have the proper working yarn. And so now, knit your first stitch, swing the bottom, pick up, and knit through the back loop. All over again, we are doing this all the way around, and I will come back when I've made it to the end. Okay, I made it all the way around to the end, so you get this little number. Like all the little nubbies already show up. I love it so much. So, next you slip your marker, and then we will knit the first one. You basically always knit the first stitch. And then with your yarn in front, you will slip that yarn over from before, put the yarn back in the back, and then knit through the back loop. So pull your yarn up front, slip, put your yarn in the back, knit through the back loop. This is where like continental knitting, I feel like, helps a little bit more, because I feel like it's easier or a smoother transition to be able to bring my yarn forward and backwards. So I'll go all the way around, and then I'll be back for the next step. Okay, so now we have so many stitches on the needles. So this is the time where we're going to get us back to the 88 stitches and make these into little nubbies. Okay, so as usual, knit the first stitch. Don't split the stitches. Then you will proceed to knit 2 together through the back loop. Okay, all the way around. Okay, so now that completes our bottom edging. Isn't it gorgeous? I love it so much. I feel like the pop doesn't happen till we bring in our main color. So here we will just give ourselves a nice little tail and start stitching here. So we're just going to purl across so we can get these nice little bumps here where you have like a bit of the main color, bit of the contrast, like contrast, main, contrast, and then main. So to purl, this first stitch is always a little bit wonky. I usually like to like knot it with that one there, but I'm gonna leave it right now so that I don't have to play with it, because sometimes I haven't even woven in my ends here, but sometimes it gets visible to see, so I like to have the opportunity to place it where I'd like. So it's up to you if you want to secure that tail or not. I'm just gonna go with it, and we'll see when it comes to weaving in the end. So we're gonna purl all the way around. This is not the only time you'll be purling. You will be purling throughout this project. Yet another reason why I prefer continental knitting. If you're not familiar, I have been trying to make this as beginner friendly as possible. So I did forget, I didn't tell y'all what knitting through the back loop, or like the structure of an actual stitch. So if you didn't figure that out earlier, this part here is the front loop, and then this part here behind is the back loop. So usually whenever you knit, like you knit through the front loop, but I'm having you knit through the back loop. So just for the border, like this bottom edging. And yeah, so what I was saying is that all the more reason to enjoy continental knitting. And continental knitting means that I am holding the yarn with my left hand and picking the stitches with my right. English style oftentimes is what they also call throwing. So usually they hold it on their right hand, and then they will wrap their left, or wrap, yeah. They will put the stitch in and then wrap it. I can't even do English style, so clearly my explanation is weird. But there are many YouTube videos out there that you could totally learn from that, so feel free to search. Okay, so this brings us to the body now. This is seriously the cutest little edging. This reminds me of little berries, which is very, holiday themed, I think. So for the body, we will be making our sections that can be cabled like this. So it's basically a section of knits, purl, ridge, knits, purl. By the way, excuse my pugs snoring in the background. They can't help themselves. It's very relaxing, apparently, for me to be filming. Okay, so slip the marker, which I've done. Purl 1, knit 3. That was a loud snore. And then purl and knit 3. And we're gonna do this the whole way around, and then restart the same process. So purls have a purl bump there, and then knits, you can see that flat stitch, okay? That's how I like to see, if I lose track, so I can go back and count, okay, 3 knit stitches and 1 purl. I went ahead and did that round all the way, and now I am back for the next one. So now you will just continue in this same pattern until you've reached either 40 rows or 11 inches. I say rows, but I mean rounds. Same thing, kind of, except we're working in the round here. So you just continue on, and this is where you can get your TV show on and just enjoy and relax and watch your cowl build. This is also a place where if you want a like taller cowl, you can go ahead and add length, like basically however long you want it to be, you can make it. It could be a whole entire tube dress. Actually, I don't even know if I could fit this size all the way up and down my body, but hey, maybe you can. Or maybe you can make it the size that you want for something like that. I'm just saying, it's your own imagination with whatever you want to do with, but this is what you can do for this cowl and this kit and this amount of yardage. Okay, so I have got her to the 11-inch length / 40 rounds. And so now it's time to start the top edging. And we are going to continue doing it with the main color. So this is what it's gonna look like here. I like how it's like a bit of a rolled effect, and it also has like a bit of structure there on the top, you know, where your face is gonna be. Okay, so you slip your marker, and then we're going to start a ribbing. So we will start with a purl. Oop, splitting the stitch here. Purl and then a knit. So purl, knit, purl, knit. And you will purl and knit all the way around, and then we will begin the tubular bind off process, which is what gives you the little rolled effect. Okay, so now we have done our first row to make the ribbing of the top edging, and now we're gonna do a couple setup rows to be able to do our tubular bind off. So we slip the marker per usual, and it's still a pretty side. I just love her. And then since we started with purls, we are going to, with the yarn in the front, slip the purl stitches, and then yarn in the back again, and then knit the knit stitches. So slip the purl stitches and knit the knit stitches. And we will do this for 2 rounds. Okay. We get to start the tubular bind off now. This might be like the trickiest part of the whole thing that we've done here, but I promise you can do it. Just take it slowly. So we don't need this beginning of row marker anymore since we're gonna start letting go of the stitches. So say bye-bye to our little friend. She's so pretty. And to start off, we're going to take this is like rough estimate since these stitches are on the needles here kind of packed, right? Okay, so we're gonna take like 3 times the length of our stitches here. So that's 1, and then 2, and then, 3. And then take your scissors and snip. She done, she off of the skein, and you're gonna get your tapestry needle and feed that end through. I have one of those things that make this easier, but it's nice with the chunky yarn, yeah. I just put it in the end there, like I twisty it and get it through, but some people, they like to like fold it in and put it through or wiggle it through or whatever. I don't know. You can have your own little strategy. So to do the tubular bind off, since we started on a purl, we are going to go from left to right, like knitwise into the stitch. Oh, let me just say too, so with the tubular bind off, we're basically going to join like the purls together and the knits together. So we start with the purl, so we will go like this, pull it all the way, our long length of tail all the way through. Don't get your needle stuck in there. So there we go, connection. And then for the knits, we're gonna, I'm gonna leave that on for right now, but for the knits, you'll go from right to left into there. And I'll go ahead and pull it off. Pull it all the way through, and then I'll drop both of those stitches down there so you could see them there. And then the knit stitch here. So then we're going to, pull it through there from right to left. So now those knit stitches are joined. So now we got to go back to this purl stitch. So the best way to see it is to turn your work backwards, and those purl stitches look like knit stitches on the wrong side. So you'll grab this leg of that stitch and pull it all the way through. Doing this through the tripod is kind of hard, so I'm sorry if I bounce or hit it. I hope that this tutorial can be somewhat helpful. And then you will enter knitwise into that purl stitch and pull it off the needle. Pull the tail all the way through. And so now both those purl stitches are joined as well. So we're building a little bit of a curve here, and don't pull extremely tight. You want like the strings to be about as long as the legs of your as long as the legs of these stitches. Okay, so this one is the knit stitch that we worked, and you will pick up the left leg of that. It's kind of hard not to split these. Left leg of that, and pull through. And then this one is the knit stitch that we're picking up, right? We already dropped the purl one. So then we'll go right to left. I want to do a few of these so that you can really get the hang of it and really get to seeing it, because I know this can be confusing. We added that little ribbing on the top, and see, like these are knit stitches on that side. So don't get confused like me, like recognize these stitches before you really get going. I know it's just the videoing process that starts to get me nervous and watching myself through the camera. That's okay, you let me write. Please say you let me, please give me a thumbs up. Okay, so it is clear here. This is actually the stitch here that I need to pick up. So you pick up that leg and then go knitwise into that purl stitch, pull the tail all the way through, and drop the stitch off the needle, and then come back through here and pick up. And that's another thing too, if like you're pulling too tight on these stitches, you're gonna have a hard time seeing these. So we did the purl there, we're going back to this knit stitch here and pick up that left leg, and then right to left and pull that through. So we're really starting to get the tops there. Pull that leg of the purl, enter knitwise. There we go. We're getting a rhythm here. How about that? Okay. I believe in you. You can totally do this. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, I'm gonna do this all the way around, and then I'm going to, initially the first time I made this, I steamed it to try to do the faux cables first, but I really wanna kill my acrylic, so I'm gonna put it through the wash machine. It says it's safe to go in the washer anyways on the label. So after I do this tubular bind off, I'm going to wash these babies, and then I'll come back and show you how to do the faux cabling. Okay, she is done. I now have 2 confectionery cowls. I did want to show you the difference, but look at my tail. So I did complete the tubular bind off, and this is how much I had left. So I cut off a nice amount. 3 times was a good amount. So I'm just gonna trim this little excess off so we don't get it swinging around. And then I'll have to weave those ends in later, as you know. But before we get into the cable, this faux cable action, and these aren't woven in, so that's not like the most clean look yet. I cheated a little. So this is a steam blocked version, and I still want to steam it again so that I can have more of the pearls, like pearl separation showing. I'll probably do more of an aggressive steam where I'll pin it out and then steam it and let it dry. But in the steaming process, I really like the crispness, the cleanliness of this cast on edge. And here, when I did it in the machine, I did it in a bag, so it still is a bit wrinkly, but when I put it on, you can't really tell that difference. It doesn't look like that on, and you can see more of the ridging when I have this one on. So I do notice that with a steam, this cowl is more structured, and with machine washing, excuse me, this one is more soft and movable. So I don't know, it's up to you which you like. I kind of like them both and their differences, but I don't know. I guess you'll see when I show you pictures later. So this is the time that I will be showing you how to do the faux cabling. Are you excited? It's the easiest thing ever. If you have never done cables before, don't be scared. You can do them now. And you could also do this in a main color. You wouldn't need to do it in the contrast. You can give yourself like a little subtle cable, or do it in a different type of project to give yourself like a cable effect. So the way that I'm gonna do it, and I didn't do it up on this top part because I really like the look of the inside, and I wanted to still keep some of that too. So what I did is, while I'm wearing it, I roll down so you can still see this part. Ooh, look, I have some fuzzies. You could still see this part, but then you get little peaks of these little cables on your shoulders, and of course that edging. So the way that I'm gonna do it is, basically we're gonna need double the length. So like 2 inches down-ish is where like as far up the cabling will go. So I say like this, double the length here, and then, you know, imagine you also need like you need some tails. So that looks like a good length to me, and I'll just cut it there. Let's measure it out and see how long that actually is. So 21 inches? No, if we loosely measure it, 20 inches, okay? So we'll say 20-inch lengths, and you can make as many or as few cables as you want. I did consider making like a double type cable or a horseshoe type thing. Actually, I don't even know what those are called. But I made 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, here's the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I made 6. 5 or 6. I'm getting myself confused where the beginning is, okay? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I made 6, okay? 6 of these on here, and I basically skipped 3 in between, except at the beginning here, I think there might be 2. So like 2 columns here when I first, 2 columns here, and then all the rest of them have 3 columns in between. So you will make 6 of these, cut 6 of these little strings. I'm not gonna cut them all right now on video. I'll go back and do that on my own time, but you will need your tapestry needle, and then you can start down at the bottom. So since I started the other one, I'll do it down here. So you'll start here at the bottom and just like feed it up and leave a little tail. And then, just imagine you're whip stitching, but it's this column and you skip some. So like, I will say we'll skip like 6-ish rows. And like, I go kind of roughly by eye, but if you want to be more precise, you could totally do that. So we'll swing them around and then skip around again, and you can do this. Sometimes it takes me multiple times to make it a little bit more clean. Oh, my puppies are a little bit upset. They might want to go outside. So once you do that, you got it set. You can space it out as far as you like and make your cables as thick or thin as you want, and then whenever you tighten the ends, that's when the cable really appears. So here I made mine with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strips, and this one I just made really easy with 3, but you can do as many of them as you want. It's the easiest thing. You just twist it around each section that you want it on, and that's that. So after you're done with that, then you weave in all your ends and you are ready to wear this baby.